This is the second part of the embedding change within the organisation section. So for this section we're going to discuss reading behaviours of people, and as we work through you'll see why this is absolutely vital if you're going to influence and get the changes you've made to embed within the organisation. So what we're going to look at in this section is why people behave the way they do. And to get an understanding of that, we need to understand the different behavioural modes. Now there are two types of behavioural mode. First one is the default behavioural mode. So this is the one you may have to look hard to see. The default mode contains all the deep-seated beliefs and prejudices, goals and drivers of the person and the basic intentions, be they good or evil. This is the mode that a lot of people may work very, very hard to prevent you from seeing. So the way to assess and spot the default behavioural mode, or DBM, of a person is not by listening to what they say, but by the analysis of how they say it and the behaviour that they exhibit, not only while they're saying it, the body language, but afterwards. Do their actions match their words? Once you know what you're looking for, you'll be able to spot a person's default behavioural mode, which is the key to knowing exactly how to deal with them, to get them to make the changes in their behaviours that you need them to make to enable the changes in the organisation to stick. Okay, so the second behavioural mode is the assumed behavioural mode. This is the mode that the person wants you to believe is their default mode, and quite often hides the intentions, beliefs and goals that they don't want you to see. So when people say, yes, he paid it lip service, then whoever he was showing you his assumed behavioural mode and making you think that that was the default behavioural mode. So the old saying, take people as you find them, isn't always the best saying to follow. Of course, some people are completely open and only ever display the default mode, but they are few and far between, and you'll need to be able to know the difference. The assumed behavioural mode, or ABM, tends to be used by people adjusting to their audience or prior to trust being firmly established, or is used by people who truly do not want you to see what their default behavioural mode is. So, different personality types. Going from the top on the emotion ladder, you got enthusiastic people. They see the positive in every situation. They're the pioneers, they're the champions of change. You got the cheerful people, generally happy and outgoing. Pioneers come settlers. And you got the reserved people. They take a considered view, they're quite conservative. They'll be the settlers, they'll take it easy and just sit on the fence. And you got the ones who are uninterested. They'll take a logical argument to convince them. They're potential settlers, but very much sat on the fence. Then you got the ones that are openly hostile. They'll plan their line of attacks or be prepared for these. They are the overt well poisoners. The openly hostile people as well, if you can find out why they're openly hostile, there's a good chance you can turn these people with the right arguments, and if you can get the what's in it for me nailed for these people. And you've got the angry people. No amount of logic will sway these people. Have you ever tried to have a logical discussion with an angry person? It doesn't work. You're not going to change the way they think. And you've got the fearful, afraid. These people are covertly hostile towards what you're trying to say, but they won't show it. These are the covert well poisoners. These are the most dangerous people on the emotion ladder. They will come across, these are the people who will say one thing and then go and do another, and that's the easiest way to spot them. And then right at the bottom you've got the apathetic people, the old dogs. just sitting there, not bothered about anything. But if they're kicked hard enough, you'll stir them into biting someone. They'll make a bit of a fight of it, and they can be a danger to the project or situation. So the key to all this, as we said before, is building rapport. And building rapport is the exact science of how we use these precise techniques to build solid relationships with high degrees of rapport and trust in order to get our stakeholders to actively want to exhibit the desired behaviours and actions that will in turn shape the culture into one which embraces the changes introduced as the new norm, the new way of working. Now that's a big ask, but it is possible if you know what you're looking for and if you know how to do it. So another thing to look for here, the components of rapport. So CLA triangle, you've got communication, so process by which messages or information is sent from one place or person to another, or the message itself. The best way to communicate with anyone is in person, not by email, not by phone, in person. Only 7% of the communicated message is actually contained in the words. The other 93% are in the tone, the body language, the facial expressions, etc. Second part of the triangle, the degree of liking. So, how much liking one person has for another. That's a key determinant in building rapport. Now, a way to raise that is by increasing the amount of communication. Another way to increase that is finding a point of reality with the person you're trying to build rapport with. So, finding something in common. Finding out if they have an interest similar to yours, or if you can just get agreement on something, it's a good starting point. That will then open the way for communication, which then raises the degree of liking. You cannot raise one point of this triangle without simultaneously raising the other two. I'm not going to dwell too much on this because this is a whole subject on its own. So pulling it all together, two previous slides give you a good insight into how to build rapport with people and different types of people that you'll encounter. Using these in isolation, they'll be quite useful. Using them together, your negotiation and persuasion skills become turbocharged. The key here is pitching your communication level and tone at the right point in order to match your subject's position on the emotion ladder. So you should ideally start at the same level and then take them up a level in order to make it easier to get a logical conversation. Again, as I said before, you ever tried to reason with an angry person? So this is a skill that needs a great deal of practice to perfect. Good news is, the more you practice, the better you'll get at it, and the more allies and friends you'll make along the way. And this is the key to excellent stakeholder management and putting change into any organisation that will stick going forward. So the previous slides around building rapport and the emotion ladder, they aren't meant as a complete how-to guide. As I stated earlier, these are part of the sales toolkit, and this part of it alone, which is the most vital, is usually delivered as a 2 to 3 day intensive training course with follow-up coaching. Once you've got rapport, influencing is easy. We then support and coach them through Gemba management, which is another module in the certification course. So if you don't nail it straight away, don't worry, keep practicing. The more you practice, the better you will get. Alternatively, if you want to arrange some training or coaching for your organisation, you can contact us via the form at beyondlean.com or go on the website, get my number and give me a call. Thanks very much.